week of Chapter 5. Okay? So, no formative tomorrow. Chapter 5 test on Friday, just so you are aware. Okay? So, to kind of start the whole process of reviewing for the chapter test on Friday, we're kind of going to wrap everything up today in a nice little bow and give it to you as a present for you. Okay? Alright? So, we were talking earlier about the bus stop and which stop you have to make in order to get along in this process. First stop is just creating the list. The second stop was factoring it. Third stop was finding the zeros. And then we worked this week on going backwards and coming home from our destination. Okay? Now, it's going to be very advantageous of you to read the directions, okay, and give me what I'm asking for, because if you don't give me what I'm asking for, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? Last night when I was correcting some people's formatives, people were still solving it when I was only asking you to factor it. Okay? They went too far on the bus. Okay? Some people don't go far enough on the bus, etc. So in order to get us started with that, what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be I'm going to ask you to give me everything that I'm asking for. So on each of the 2 examples today, I'm going to ask for 5 things. 1, I want you to graph it. That's why it's a graphing calculator type of a day. 2, I want you to give me the end behavior. 3, I want you to write it in factored form. 4, I want you to give me all the zeros. And 5, I want you to give me any minimum or maximum points that there might be. And I just wanted those just because get back into using the calculator so that when we go to use them later on, we're still up to date and up to speed on what we want. Okay? So the first function that we're going to deal with is negative x cubed plus 3x minus 2. Okay? So we need to graph that one, because from the graph then we can get all of that other stuff that we were just asking for. So negative x cubed plus 3x minus 2. Okay? So there's mine. I didn't graph it. I thought I had it. I thought I had this on a whole, negative 10 to positive 10 to negative 10 to positive 10 to negative 10 to positive 10, all by ones. There it goes. Now it looks much more better. We like much more better. Okay? So, one of the things it asked for was the minimums and maximums, right? Okay? So let's find those right away. We can analyze our graph. Minimum, that's going to be a low point. Maximums are going to be high points. Okay. So let's bring this onto here now. And it'll fit. Okay. So there we are. Okay, got our minimums, got our maximums on there. Fantastic. So we got our graph. We knew that it was going to be going in opposite directions because the degree was odd. So we knew that the ends were going to go in opposite directions. Lead coefficient of -1 tells me that as I'm going to the right, it's going to go down. Fantastic. Okay? So let's do a little end behavior here now. As x is going to positive infinity, my function is going to what? What's my function going to for my end behavior? It's going to go down, which means it's going to negative infinity. Okay? Another way of reading that, As we go to the right on our graph, our function goes down. Okay? The other side then would be as x is going to negative infinity, where is the function going? So as I'm going to the left, my function is going to positive infinity. Okay. I can also give my maximum. Do I have a maximum point here? Do I have a maximum? What is it? 1, 0 is my maximum. Is it an absolute maximum? No, not the tallest point or the highest point on the graph. Do I have a minimum? -1, -4. Is it an absolute minimum? No, because it's an odd degree. Odd degrees don't have absolutes. Okay? Fantastic. Do I know any of the zeros? What do I know? -2 is a 0. Okay? So -2 is a 0, which means the factor then would be x plus 2. Okay? So let's use -2 as a 0 and go -1, 0, +3, and -2 there. Okay? So drop the -1, multiply. That gets me +2. Add gets me 2. Multiply gets me -4. Add gets me -1. Multiply gets me +2. Gets me to 0. Okay? I like it. So this tells me then that f of x could be x plus 2 times -x squared plus 2x minus 1. Correct? Okay. Do we like negative in front of our squared terms? If I'm looking at this, because this I got to factor this one next and see if it's factorable. Do we like negatives in there? No, not a big fan of negatives in there. So let's factor out a -1. That then would leave me with positive x squared minus 2x plus 1. Are there two numbers that when multiplied together give me +1 and when added together give me -2? -1 and -1 multiplied together to be +1 and add to be -2. So that then becomes the factored form of f of x. So f of x here is going to equal x plus 2. Oops, I forgot the negative sign. Negative, and then x plus 2 times x minus 1 quantity squared. If you wrote that as x minus 1 and x minus 1, that means the same thing. But if you wanted to write it in condensed form, it would look like that. Okay. To find my zeros then, I set all of these factors here equal to 0. So I get 2 zeros at -2 and +1. Which makes sense because the one at +1 is a double root. Because it's right on, that turning point is right on the axis. Okay? Ready to try one on your own? Alright. Here we go. Try that one on your own. See what you come up with. And then we'll come back and we'll do it. Alright, so let's start with the graph here now. Let's start a new graph on that one, new graph on that one, and then we're going to go x to the 4th minus 3x squared minus 4. There it is. Window. 1. Yep. So we're there with that. Then let's analyze for minimum. Analyze for maximum. Analyze for minimum. So then let's go in here and let's paste that on there. There we go. Okay. So even though like mine gave me this crazy numbers in here, that's really the point 0, -4. Because -4.71 e to the -9th is the decimal point 8 zeros, then 4.71. So that's just basically 0. Okay? All right? So there's our graph, our end behavior. As x is going to positive infinity, f of x is going to positive infinity, shooting up. As x is going to negative infinity, f of x is going to positive infinity also. Okay? Even degree, both go the same way. Good there. Okay? Minimums and maximums. So I've got minimums here at -1.22, comma -6.25, and positive 1.22, comma -6.25. We've also got a maximum at 0, comma -4. Okay? Either one of, or any of those three absolutes. Any of those three absolutes. Yes or no? Is that an absolute maximum? Is this point right here the highest point on the graph? No, so that one's not an absolute. Is this point right here and that point right there, are those absolutes? Yes, they're absolute minimums because the graph does not get any, or I shouldn't say the graph, the function does not get any lower than those. Okay? All right? So then, let's take our x to the fourth minus 3x squared minus 4, and let's say to ourselves, self, I can just factor that. This is really x squared minus 4 and x squared plus 1, correct? Okay. If I would have done synthetically, okay, I would have said, all right, negative 2. Let me see if I can go like this. Bring these two over here, and then I'll go negative 2 into 1, 0, negative 3, 0, negative 4, and then I would have gotten so on and so forth, and I would have had to find it, but I would have added 2 zeros there. Okay? X squared minus 4 is going to be x minus 2 and x plus 2. X squared plus 1 is not factorable. We want it to be, but it's not. Okay? So that means then that the factored form of f of x is x minus 2, x plus 2, x squared plus 1. Our zeros then, so we would say here x minus 2 equals 0, so x equals 2. X plus 2 equals 0, so x equals negative 2. And then we would say x squared plus 1 equals 0, so x squared equals negative 1. So x here is going to equal plus or minus I when I take the square root on both sides right here. Okay. So all of my zeros then are plus and minus 2 and plus and minus I. Okay? Now today I'm going to give you 2 homework assignments. The first homework assignment I'm going to give you is going to be due tomorrow. Actually, no, it can't be due tomorrow. We don't have class tomorrow. So we'll say due Thursday. What would that be? That would be the 10th. The second homework assignment we'll say is due Friday, which would be Veterans Day. I had to think with there. And I was going to say Remembrance Day, but it's Veterans Day on Friday, 11/11. Okay? And I'll go hand out that worksheet right now.